Hey everybody, Jeremy here. So today I want to show you something that I found in Walmart, just kind of browsing the aisles. And apparently this has been out for a while, but this is the first time that I've ever seen it. It's called the MyMini Noodle Cooker and Skillet. And apparently there's a whole family of these MyMini products. They got toasters, there's waffle makers, there's this thing. And it really caught my attention because it's only $10. And look how little it is. On the box, it says that this is a rice cooker, a steamer, a skillet, and a griddle all in one. So I thought, hey, maybe this will be something that people will be interested in if they live in like a really small place and they don't have access to a stove or a hot plate, or maybe if you do a lot of traveling on the road and you want to cook and eat in your car, maybe this is something that can be useful. And for only $10, it is worth the gamble. So I'm going to be trying this out today using what they suggest, noodles. So I've got myself some good old classic ramen noodles, and I'm going to cook it inside of this thing and see how well it works. All right, so first, let's unbox it. Let's open it up. It's got this tamper-proof tape on it. So if you ever see this in the store and you're kind of wondering, has this been returned before? Just keep your eye open for that tamper-proof tape, and that should let you know. All right, so in the box, we have this thank you card that says, as a token of our gratitude, enjoy 15% off your next purchase. We'll see. We'll see. Next, we've got the instruction manual here. And then here is the device. Let's just turn it upside down, get all of it off. There we go. It comes in two parts. So this is the main pot right here. So it looks like the way that this works is we have this part right here that you can put the lid on and just kind of put it down into the main unit like this, and then you can lift it up using this little handle right here. And then we can also just use the bottom portion as well. So this is kind of like the skillet portion. So this is the pot, this is the skillet, and this is the power cord, which doesn't look like it's all that long. So that's how long the cord is. I don't have a ruler, but I'm going to say that's probably like around 2 feet long. So it's not a very long cord, but hey, it is what it is. All right, so I'm going to get this thing all cleaned up, and we're going to try to make some ramen noodles in here and see how it turns out. You might be curious how much liquid this little pan can hold, so we're going to find that out right now. This is a half a cup of water that I have here. So there's still plenty of space left in here for half a cup. Let's just keep going. 1.5 cups. And it's pretty much all the way to the top. So I would say 1.5 cups is as high as you can get it before you start to spill over. So it's in the preheating stage right now. It's indicated by that red light right there. And as soon as that goes away, we will be ready to cook in it. All right, but since we're here, let me just put this lid down here and get these noodles ready. I'm just going to go ahead and pour a cup of water into here right now. And I think, oh man, you know, I don't really want to put more water than a cup in there, because as you saw, when you get to 1.5 cups, things start to get a little bit hairy. So I'm just going to leave it right here at a cup of water. And once that gets nice and hot, we're going to add these noodles in. So even though this red light is still on, it's been about 5 or 6 minutes, you can see that this water is boiling quite heavily. Now, granted, I did have the lid on, but it is boiling. It's ready to accept the ramen. But here's the thing. You can't just put the ramen down like that. You see, it's way too big. So instead, we're going to have to break it up. And I'm going to try to break it up into like 4 sections, because I still want the noodles to be noodly. You know, I don't want them to be like too small, so I don't want to just crush them. But see if I can break them up into like 4 pieces, getting noodles everywhere, and just see what's going to happen. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that quite the way I want to. But there are recipes on the bag or inside of the instruction manual that calls for like 3 ounces of like noodles. And this is a standard size bag of noodles, 3 ounces. So it's not completely covered by water, but I'm just gonna pop the lid on there and just let it do its thing. And then I'm gonna come back and see how well it's gonna do. We're a few minutes in and the noodles are boiling away here, looking pretty good. And the instructions say not to use metal utensils because you'll scratch things up. So I'm bringing out the Snackdiv. Hear about the Snackdiv? It's one of those Shark Tank products that got funded, and I got one. Even did a video on the Snackdiv, a whole video. I'm gonna put a card somewhere up here, I never know where it's gonna be, about the Snackdiv so you can learn more about it. But it's basically chopsticks for your fingers. So in lieu of using metal utensils, I'm just going to use the Snackdiv here to kind of just move the ramen around. You see, in the beginning, it wasn't fitting. But then as the noodles cooked and they get softer, then everything starts to fit nicely inside of this pot. Give that a good stir. Oh yeah, it's coming together now. Also, if you're going to do this like I did and you're going to add like a cup of water to this pot, when you put the lid on, it's going to make that water rise up a bit so you could have a little bit of spillover. So if you're in a really confined space and you don't want to risk boiling water like getting on your leg or getting on any of your stuff, just leave the lid off. Leave the lid off. And if you are going to put the lid on, just keep an eye on it. Make sure things don't, spill over. But so far, hey, this is a whole pack of ramen noodles. We're almost done. So all that water has evaporated by now and has been absorbed by these noodles, so there's virtually no water left. But I believe these noodles are done. And I love the fact that you get this little handle right here. So, even when you're cooking, you can hold on to it and it's not hot at all, make you feel like you're really doing something, mixing it all up. But anyway, these are our noodles. I'm gonna pour them right here into the bowl. Now for our seasoning packet, I was going to say flavor packet, seasoning packet, whatever you want to call it. Not going to put all of it in there simply because I usually like my ramen with some water down inside of it, and it helps to sort of dilute the saltiness of the seasoning packet. But since there's really no water in here, I'm just only going to use a little bit of it. And of course, you can always add a little bit more water if you want. Thank you, Snackdiv. You have done your job well. But now, bring out the old fork. And give these noodles a try. I mean, they're ramen noodles. You know what these things taste like. Good and hot. Yep. Super ramen-y. The only thing that I would like to change is I would like to add a little bit more water to it. You may be able to do that in the beginning, but like I said, there's a tendency for it to boil over if you put the lid on. But then again, while it's cooking, you can always add more water to it. Then that way it won't be in danger of boiling over, and then you can get it more watery. But hey, it's still good. But another thing that I'm curious about, since we also have this bottom pan here and it's already nice and hot, let's make some bacon. One strip of bacon is going to be way too big for our little pot, so let's just kind of rip it in two and see what we can do here. All right, that's one there. One in there. Of course, the bacon is going to shrink. Let's see how long it takes this bacon to cook. It is 7:47 right now. That's easy to remember. Let's see how long it takes for the bacon. My nose is telling me it's time to flip this bacon, so we got the Snackdiv back out once again. So we're just going to flip it. Get this other one. That one was easier to flip. No temperature control on this thing, so however hot it is however hot it is going to be. But as you can see here, it's cooking the bacon pretty good. About just as good as any other flat top that I've used. And it won't take long at this point for this bacon to be done either. And I like my bacon to be nice and crispy, and it's turned out to be just that. Meanwhile, the ramen is doing pretty good over there, so man, so far so good. Only thing about this portion of it is it's connected to the wire, so you can't remove this bottom plate in order to wash it. So when you do, you just have to be a little bit extra careful. You can't submerge it. You can't get the whole thing soaked because that's where the electronics are. So it's going to be more of a careful wipe down for something like this, as opposed to this pot where, you know, you can just throw this in the sink all day long and you'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, this bacon is pretty much done. 7:47 when I started this, right? So it is 7:51 right now. So that's like, what, 4 minutes? That's pretty good. 4 minutes to cook this slice of bacon. Now, granted, I could only cook one at a time, but you know, once it starts to shrink, you can always put more bacon on. See? That's how it cooked the bacon. That's not bad. That's not bad. And in only 4 minutes as well, that's not bad at all. So, you guys, that was just a little demo of the MyMini, what's it called? Noodle Cooker and Skillet. $10 you can get this thing at Walmart. And if you just use your imagination a little bit, you'll be able to cook some surprisingly decent dishes inside of this little thing. Now, like I said at the beginning, if you live in a house or an apartment, you have access to a range or a whole bunch of the larger appliances, then something this small, you probably don't need something like this. But if you find yourself on the road, you want to cook in your car, and perhaps you live in your car, or you want to live in your car, or if you're just in a really small space and you don't have access to this kind of thing, a dorm room maybe. Hey, this is pretty darn decent for only $10. So go ahead and give it a try. And it also has different colors that you can choose from as well. So I'm going to unplug this thing before it sets off my alarms. There's still oil in here, still grease in here. But that is it, you guys. And thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, do me a favor and leave a like and or subscribe. And I'll be back soon with some even more videos. So until then, take care of yourself and I'll see you next time.